It's like making a mockery. You're making a mockery of time travel. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the final episode of Summertime Render. Previously, previously some stuff happened. So they basically, how do I even say this? They bullshitted so hard that I'm already predicting this episode to be really bad, and I'm already predicting that I'm gonna call bullshit in the first 30 seconds of this episode. Okay? That's how much they messed up last episode. Essentially, last episode, to recap, apparently they went back in time and then just erased the whale from existence. First, they changed the past by just making sure that that Heine wouldn't get close to the whale, and they were like, "Oh, look at that! We just changed the past." No one cared. And then they just straight up removed the whale, and then Shadow Uchiha went back in time to give, to create the message for Hizuru and give the eye to Shinpei on the boat. Except for the fact that by erasing the whale, that would never happen. But I went more in depth into that last episode. Point is, if Shinpei now, if we're seeing that Shinpei at the end of last episode now arriving at the island and there's no shadows, I'm calling huge bullshit. So let's just get into it, shall we? The final episode of Summertime Render. Okay, so what should be happening here is that this is what happened in the first episode. This should be the same timeline that we started on. There shouldn't be nothing different here, because now the loop is closed, with the first loop started again, right? And nothing should change here. This is basically the loop that will bring us to eventually the whale that they erased from existence, and then created a new timeline, a different reality timeline. But this loop is still closed. In other words, nothing should change here. The moment they change something, like, oh, there's no shadows because the whale was erased. Bullshit immediately. Huh?
何？少年よ。君と私は初対面のはずだわ。
まもなく人ヶ島に到着します。
だってひずるさんは南雲龍之介先生でしょ。
なぜ私の正体を知っている？
Unless I don't think they did this, but I thought to myself, maybe what Shadow Uchiha did was take, she was saying shit like, oh, now I have full control over time or whatever, I finally understand how time works. Maybe she took Shinpei's mind or whatever and then transported it back in time. That makes sense, but then what's even the point of erasing the fucking whale? The point is, what we're seeing here, this timeline, the shadow should still be there. But again, if this doesn't happen, then again you have a fucking paradox, because if the first loop, if what we saw in the very beginning of the show doesn't happen this time, then we don't get to this timeline, right? You need the timeline to happen for us to get to where we are now. It's very complicated. It's basic paradox, time paradox shit. I forgot what it's called actually, like bootstrap paradox? Was it the bootstrap paradox or something else? I'm not entirely sure. But basically, like, yeah, like the first timeline that we saw in the very beginning of the show needs to happen for us to get here in the first place. And if it doesn't happen, then we don't get here. So it doesn't really make sense.
俺は2年ぶりにこの故郷に帰ってきたんやけど。あれ？
の景色見たことある。
So does he remember or does he not remember? What is going on?
あの人が南雲龍之介だってこともなんで知ってるんだっけ。ミオ。
ミオ、危ない。
That's not what...
なしてんのしんちゃん。
Again, first thing already we're seeing that, oh, there's no shadows, which means her brakes are working, right?
確かに何してんのやろ。
Disagree? Again, this didn't happen. Which means... bullshit. Bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit.
やっと帰ってきたな。
The fact is that it's so clear that the writer or whoever wrote this or whatever, even they have no idea what to do. Right? They were like, oh, let's erase the whale from existence 300 years ago, but then how, you know, how does that make sense? How would things go the same way? I don't know. So let's just kind of throw him back in time. So he kind of remembers, but he kind of doesn't. He remembers, but he doesn't. He kind of half remembers for some reason. Who knows? Just fucking put it out there. Fuck it.
俺ってなんで帰ってきたんやっけ。
え、ひどないそれ。会いたかったん俺らだけ。
新平さん、それ本気で言うてます？
いや、なんかすごく心配してたようなみんなのことをさ。
ほんま髪の毛の
The fact of the matter is, this shouldn't happen.
大人びて見えますね。
Like, just the fact that this is happening is complete bullshit. It means that they completely just disregarded any kind of time travel thing.
そうかな。
牛尾から連絡あったんやろ。昨日電話で言うてたかな。今年こそ帰らな。牛尾にどつかれるってな。
Even trying to assume that this is the world that they created without the shadows, it's like, first things first, they would never meet. Especially not all of them. Even assuming that they were born in this timeline without the shadows. If the shadows never existed, why would Hizuru even, like, have left in the first place? Why would Hizuru have a secret identity? I just... you know, if the shadows never existed, we would not get here, is what I'm trying to say. If the shadows never existed, we would never get here. Doesn't make sense. If you just completely change the timeline, where they're like not even on the island, maybe they're like, I don't know, in school in Tokyo or something in this timeline, I would have actually bought that. I would be like, okay, you know, even though they changed the timeline, it's a happy ending because they all still met each other, right? They were all still born and they still met each other and became friends. Like that I could accept. It would be stupid, but I would be able to accept that. But this, I don't accept. You can't have the same thing happening to this degree, to this similarity. But, oh, there's no shadows. Shut the fuck up. Ah, nah.
殴ってない。なんや新平、戻ったんか。
戻ったも何も。お前が留守電にメッセージ入れたんやろ。
なんであんたが偉そうなん？ほったらかしでもふるさとは逃げやんってか。
怖っ。
めっちゃおこやわ。ビーチがなかなか綺麗にならんから怒ってるんよ。こないだ浜掃除したのにゴミ捨てるやつがおるって。じゃあ人違いや。ミオ、はよ店戻り。はーい。
ただいま。
You know, straight up, I think I should have stopped watching the show last episode. I think it would have been better as an ending to just leave it as a mystery. You know, we saw the final thing that Shadow Ushio did, which was go back in time and then set up the whole thing that we saw in the very beginning, and then the loop starts again, basically, right? Because it's a closed loop, and then maybe at the very end or something, they show like the world that they created by erasing the whale. and they created like a new timeline where maybe all the friends, Shinpen and friends are all like, I don't know, maybe they met somewhere in a different part of the world because the timeline was completely changed, right? They are not on the island anymore, right? So on and so forth. I think that would have been just a much better ending. I shouldn't have started this episode. I had a feeling it was a mistake.
いや
あれよ、祭りで戻ったんかい。
はい。いや。
牛尾やろ電話した言うてたわ。
I mean, the thing is, if he doesn't even have awareness of what happened, what's even the point of this? Straight up, what the hell is even the point? Now we're just watching an episode of where he comes back. Basically, just a reality where there are no shadows. Why are we even watching this? I don't know. This is a world where no shadows ever existed. Well, maybe they did, but they were erased from existence 300 years ago. So it's like, what's the point of this, right? Like, he doesn't remember. He is not the same Shinpei. He doesn't have he doesn't have the awareness of what happened. This is simply a world without shadows. Why are we, what's even the point of this?
アジロ君の携帯やと思って話します。あんな、私は別に全然会いたないんやけどな。加減夏休みくらい帰ってきたらどうですか？この電話聞いて仕方やったら、私が東京から首根っこひっつかんで、東海道引きずって帰っちゃら。ほなな、アジロ君。
アジロ君にも大いに引っかかったが、突然の連絡の理由を考えたとき、前の日に変な夢を見ていたことを思い出した。その内容は覚えていないのだが、誰かの声に振り返ると、この島が消えてしまうような不安に駆られた。
Doesn't make any sense, by the way. Why would that ever be the case? This is the world that they created by erasing the shadows 300 years ago, which means that nothing would ever happen in this world, right? Like this is a completely different reality that was created. This would not happen. Why would this be happening? Why would he get some sort of flashes or any kind of feelings or like, it just doesn't make sense. None of it does.
俺は帰ってきたんだ。
牛尾がよ、私が読んだ酒、新平帰ってくるでって5回も聞いたわ。
なんで5回も？
わからんか。なんだかんだ言うて新平に会いたいんやんか。
で、ほんまに帰ってきたってすげえな。
すごい新平。
しかしよ、祭りの日とハイネの誕生日がドカぶりやな。
祭りの次の日は牛尾の誕生日やで。
せやな。
Who?
めでたいことが続くな。
How did they know Heine?
ほっとする。じゃあ行くわ。
もう行くんか？
久しぶりやからあちこち見て回ろうと思って。
I don't even know why I'm watching this, to be honest. What's in the point?
新平君。アジロ新平君。
カリキリさん。
やっぱり新平君や。
今年も巡ってきましたね。
ほんまやね。何事もなく無事が一番ありがたいことやわ。
でもそういえば牛尾ちゃんが浜掃除の時にペンダント落としてね。
あれよ。
Like, for instance, would these guys even be shrine attendants or whatever? Considering the shrine and the whole shrine thing was about fucking Hiruko, which wouldn't be the case anymore. Like, so these things just wouldn't exist. I'm telling you, it's like making a mockery. You're making a mockery of time travel. The show is a fucking disgrace to time travel, okay? God damn it.
新平君。
I don't even understand why I'm watching this, to be honest. What's the point?
アジロ君、なんや、今日はよう会うな。
ほんまに悪かった。
Mockery. Mockery of time travel.
新平が無事でよかった。
牛尾。
あんな変な夢見て。
I just can't. That wouldn't have even been you. That was Shadow Ushio. It's not. It wasn't even the original. Oh.
突いの晩。新平に二度と会えんようになる夢。
I should have ended it last episode. Straight up. I should have ended it last episode.
でな、このまま離れ離れになるんは嫌やって思ったら、手が勝手に電話してしまってて。
You see, this is one of those situations where, like, they're trying to do like a sweet and wholesome moment, but it doesn't land. If anything, it pisses me off even more because it doesn't really make sense at all how they even got here. This is like if you built a fucking house on a single glass pillar and expected, oh, I'm sure that's gonna hold. I'm sure that's gonna hold. Sure, bro. No, it fucking won't. You built a house on a fucking... on a single straw. Okay? On a fucking paper straw. And you think that that's gonna hold up. It won't.
俺も実は。
捕まえた。もう動けやん。
俺も
I just...
同じ夢を見ていたような気がする。
This is... You know what this feels like? This feels like the real show ended last episode and this is like some sort of fan fiction that the writer tacked on later on, or maybe not even the writer, but like the people making the anime. They were like, oh, we need some sort of happy ending, so let's just somehow completely just disregard what happened, and then they now have some sort of like happy ending together. You know, fuck it. Let's just do some random bullshit.
どうかした？よかった。
I don't care. I straight up don't care.
変な夢も見てしもたし、めっちゃ不安やったけど、大丈夫。悲しくて寂しくて、そんで今嬉しい。
See, the thing is, maybe I would care about this, or think it's sweet or whatever, if this was actually the Shadow Ushio that he came to know, right? But it's not. In other words, this isn't even our Shinpei seeing the Shadow Ushio again, or whatever, right? This is... Because Shadow Ushio and Ushio, the original, were not the same person.
で、めっちゃ髪伸びたな。
I just...
変やで。
Yeah, I straight up don't care. Straight up just don't care.
同じ夢を同じ日時に別々の場所で見た。そしてその夢の中で私の正体を知った。
もしかしたらそうかもって。夢の中身は思い出せやんのですけど、俺も牛尾も。
予知夢、いや記憶。この島の者たちが持つ民族記憶的なものなのか。繰り返す時の感覚、並行する世界、いや並行した世界の記憶。
What they were kind of talking about, I have, you know, as a connoisseur of time travel, obviously, I have considered the idea of a character seeing or remembering alternate realities. Part of me actually believes that what we consider deja vu is actually us having experienced what we're experiencing now before in another timeline. That's why it feels so familiar, right? Like, you know that you haven't actually experienced this before, but it feels like you have. Why is that, right? A lot of people, come up with all kinds of like memory bullshit like explanations, but one such theory I had many years ago was that it's simply that exact thing happened in a different timeline. Maybe a timeline that's very like a reality that's very parallel or very close to your timeline, to your reality, or at least that was the idea. But yeah, this type of shit that they were talking about has definitely crossed my mind before.
よかった。みんなにお祝いしてもらったか？はいね。
うん。明日は牛尾も誕生日やな。
ああ、そうだな。
はいね。お話の邪魔をしたらあかんで。ごめんやで、新平。
いえ。
ハイネは私にプレゼントのお礼を言ったまでで邪魔をしたわけではない。
そうか。
うん、お邪魔しました。
なぜそなたは通り過ぎて我らを置き去りにするのか。このほのかな空虚で荒涼たる巨大な涙の谷に。
それは
わかるかね？
いえ、すみません。
お姉ちゃん、あんま新平をいじめやんといてよ。新平は南雲龍之介の大ファンやねん。正体バレてもおかしないて。
私は覆面作家だ。どこにも顔を出してないんだぞ。でたらめな演疫法で口を挟むなボケ。
怖っ。
お前、私のことを島でバラしたりしてないだろうな。
まさか。
取材と休養を兼ねた和歌山だったが、しかし思わぬ収穫だ。君の話は面白い。もっと詳しく聞かせたまえ。
時が夏を上書きしていく。過ぎゆくことへの安堵と寂しさ、そして痛みを残して。
Bullshit. Bullshit.
先生、もうすぐ花火大会始まりますよ。
少し待ちたまえ。今アイデアが石油のように溢れて止まらんね。君のおかげでスランプ脱出や。
新平遅い。
俺
ほら、あの時あんかほら。思い出せそうやのに。
あの時か。9秒頭で狭い隙間に入ってもろた時。10個でも100個でも紅茶そう。
おかえり。
Bullshit. Yeah. Ultimately, I would have been happier if I didn't watch this episode. I don't think I've ever, straight up, I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I would have been happier if I didn't watch the last episode of a show. It's like one of those situations where, people say that, just watch the first season of something, don't watch the second season, it will ruin it. Yeah, look, I'm just gonna end it there. It is what it is. I think, as a time travel enthusiast, they made a fucking mockery. Okay, it's a fucking disgrace, to be honest. But when it comes to time travel shit, it's a fucking disgrace. I don't think I've seen time travel done so blatantly wrong and just without any like I haven't seen time travel done in a way where they just don't give a shit, where they just throw time travel in without any actual regard of how it works. It's like usually when someone creates a time travel show or anything having to do with time travel, they at least try to think about what they're doing. Here it was like there's no shot whoever was writing this or putting this together, there is no fucking shot that they thought about this at all. Ultimately, what I'm going to leave it off on is that time travel shows, 9 out of 10 times, are and need to be thought out from the very beginning. You cannot just start writing a time travel show and just kind of do whatever. You need to have an idea of what the ultimate what the loop is, essentially, right? Because usually most time travel shows eventually have some sort of loop. The protagonist goes through all this timey-wimey time travel stuff and eventually goes back to the very beginning of the show and changes something or something along those lines, right? Like there's always some sort of final twist of like, aha, the main character went back to the very beginning again, and then they changed something, or, you know, but that's usually how time travel stories need to be. Not always, but that's usually how they are. Here it was like, I just, no, just no. Just fucking no. Just no. Okay? This is not how you do time travel. A fucking mockery, disgrace to time travel. Like ultimately, I would give the show like a strong 5. Okay? 5 for the ending, for the second half of the show. I think it started off with an 8. Straight up. In the first half of the show, it was an 8. Maybe a strong 7. With this ending, a 5. Straight up. The last half of the show and plus the ending, sorry, but like you just can't do it like this. You know, you lost the plot, as they say, and you had no idea what you were doing with time travel. And in the end, they were like, what kind of time travel thing can we do? Change the past, make it so that the whale never existed 300 years ago, and then everything is happy now. That's not how it works. There's no point in me even trying to explain this. Like, I'm sure if you have seen time travel shows before, or if you just have a functioning brain, you can understand why erasing the whale from in the past doesn't make it so that all the shadows are just now gone and they can have the same timeline happening the same way, but the shadows are just gone now. That's not how it works. Just no. Just fucking no. Still, you know, I hope you enjoyed my ranting of time travel during the show. I'm super disappointed. They went for a trick and they face planted right into the pavement. It is what it is. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Summertime Render. Jesus Christ.